Hi, it's Peter Prop again, here with my second victim in my occasional video podcast series. Today we're talking to another good friend of mine, Jack Campisi, who worked with me at a company called Digital Idea, which was an internet-oriented research company back around the turn of the century, as we say, the turn of the century.
Longer ago than I care to admit.
Exactly, and we've all learned a lot since then. Jack has been in the research field for quite a bit and knows a lot about the different aspects of market research. So I thought he'd be a good person to interview. Jack, why don't you tell us about where you're working now, what your title is, what you do for a living?
Okay, well, I was started out in market research slash technology back when you and I met, back with the Greenfield family of companies, and we ended up at Digital Idea. Now, fast forward all these years later, and I'm with a company called Qualvu. And what they do is, I've kind of watched the market research technology field grow, and every couple of years, technology leaps and bounds another length. And so now what we're doing is 5 or 6 years ago, people were talking about wouldn't it be cool if we could do things in people's homes with those flip cameras, or wouldn't it be great if we could have some sort of conversation like we're having with personal web cameras and really get into somebody's home or in their office or in their environment. Well, bandwidth and technology has caught up with the industry, and so what Qualvu does is sends webcams or pocket cams to the respondents. And so rather than recruiting people into a focus facility or 7 o'clock log in for the online focus group, instead you get people on their own terms. Here's a camera, log in. A moderator is going to post some pre-recorded messages, questions, assignments, and over in sort of an asynchronous fashion, like a bulletin board, over the course of 3 or 4 days. When it's convenient for them, they can log on a few times a week, once a day, twice a day, and they can answer their questions, they can do their assignments, and they can kind of take you into their own environment. So it's almost like a personal ethnography. We call them video diaries. And it's a combination of, talking to the camera like the Blair Witch Project, filming things that you're doing, and then also reacting to stimulus on the screen. So there's an exploratory aspect to it as well.
Cool. And I remember back in the day we were working on setting up the focus group room back at Digital Idea in Greenfield and making that as cool as possible and really operating well. When it comes to qualitative research, I mean, there's certain things that you're going to really be able to explore, and there's certain things where you're just, not going to get there. One thing that occurs to me when I hear your story is there must be an age point where you guys have zero success in reaching them. I'm guessing like 60 and above.
That I get that kind of question a lot, and it was one of the first things I asked when I was first interviewing there. And you would be actually surprised because they were pretty smart. They made this simple enough that you'd be able, whether you were 65 years old or you were 15-year-old, you should be able to use this. So it's really, if you're able to surf the web and navigate a website and plug in a USB, you should be able to participate in this. So the concerns I get are with older people and also with professionals like a doctor or a C-level executive or something. Like, would these people want to participate in these kinds of things? Surprisingly, they do more times than they don't. The biggest challenge in a qualitative project is always going to be the recruit. How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost? And can you actually find these people? If you manage the expectation of the recruit, and everybody, what ends up happening is everybody says yes to every project that they're thrown because they need the work. And then they run into problems a week later when you can't find the needle in the haystack you were looking for. But with this, one of the main, I like this about Qualvu. They have a team they call the onboard team, and they mail the cameras to everybody, and we let them keep the camera. It's a gift.
Oh my gosh.
Deal on them. Yeah, it's also a little bit of the Italian gift with a little guilt. Here's a camera, keep it. But no. um, but what happens is when we don't just send it and hope that they participate. Somebody calls them, makes sure that they're tested, that they're comfortable. My mother would be, very scared. She has trouble checking her email. Maybe she's not the best, but she wouldn't do an online focus group. She wouldn't do any kind of online research.
Right.
I think if you're comfortable with a chat room or a bulletin board or even a Skype, it's no harder than that. So it's a matter of kind of so this onboard team, they'll call, make sure you're tested ahead of time and that you're comfortable with the camera and the whole operating system. And then throughout the week, they don't just kind of sit back and hope that you answer. They'll give you a call or shoot you an email. Hey, thanks for joining us. I know we said, do it at your leisure. That kind of means, if it's Monday morning and you got to go to work or your kid has the sniffles, you can wait till nighttime to do the assignment. But if it's, suddenly Wednesday and you haven't done anything, somebody's got to give you a call and ask you to get on the horse.
Oh boy. Interesting. So, typically, are you working with B2C accounts, B2B accounts? Is it just run the gamut?
This methodology is a no-brainer for B2C. We actually have a demonstration project it's a real project we did with club stores. And there's probably a link on the Qualvu website, which is QUALVU.com. But if you contact me, I can send you a link to it. And it's actually people in club stores like BJ's, Costco. And so there's some footage of them like in a setting like you or me in their home. And then they take the webcam right to the store and they're like pointing at, those Clorox wipes. Well, you'd think this would be a better deal because it looks so big and you get so much, but actually it's 50 cents more than it would be if I bought them separately. Or one woman talking about how she can't resist buying, clothing when she goes to Costco. Or it's amazing. So what's going on in your head at home, and then that moment of truth when you're in the store? Well, I changed my mind because this guy was handing out free samples, or the salesman talked me out of a Samsung and talked me into the Sharp because it was on sale. So I did 3 weeks of research on the internet, was determined to go into Best Buy and buy this, and then suddenly I ended up at Costco buying a Sharp, because the price was less.
So it sounds like the flip phone is where you really get the personal ethnography sort of research, right? That's the flip camera.
Yeah, so the flip camera is it's amazing. We did a project where women shave their legs, and they took the camera into the bathroom. And the moderator set the tone by they have pre-recorded messages. So, like I said, you can check this out at 8 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night. And you can play it as many times as you want. There's no clock to watch. So this really opens up this kind of non-intrusive, candid setting. So they take the cameras. First of all, the moderator shaved her leg first. She came out in her bathrobe, did the recording kind of like this, shaved her legs. Then the women took there's a little tripod on these. Mm-hmm. And you set it right up on the counter. Mm-hmm. And we got to see all the shapes and sizes of the tubs. And as guys, we don't think about this, but if you have a shower stall and not a bathtub, where do you put your leg to shave your leg? So some women were using the toilet bowl to put their foot up on. What other products were on the shelf? When we were at Digital Idea, one of the things the moderators used to say to me is, if you ask somebody what kind of vegetables they have in their pantry, they'll tell you, oh, I've got Green Giant. Then you actually put a camera in their pantry and you see Stop and Shop brand and where the heck did these wax beans come from? So this whole thing about getting in somebody's bathroom.
Right.
Now, I worked at another market research company with what we called a portable ethnography unit 5 or 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. It was a laptop with some great software on it, full-size camera and tripod, wires, microphones, extra batteries. Sometimes we'd even send a technician with it. We did a project with Qualvu, 15-year-old girls in their bedrooms about blue jeans. Instead of sending that whole setup, we just send this little pocket camera. Girl goes in her bedroom, you see all the Jonas Brothers and Twilight posters. These are my favorite jeans. I hate these jeans. My aunt gave them to me. I'm sitting there watching this. I don't know if you've ever dealt with videographers, but they're kind of like the AV dudes from junior high school.
Right.
You know, the long hair and the Metallica shirts. Great guys, but what is a 15-year-old girl going to do when there's some 40-year-old guy standing in her bedroom with a camera?
Right. There's no way.
So it's that old ethnography from only 5 or 6 years ago is like a Betamax now.
Right. Interesting. So because the technology is so portable, lightweight, and inobtrusive, and easy to manage, people just go for it.
Yeah. Now, one other thing that Qualvu did that's probably the smartest decision they made was they started off as just a platform for people to do it themselves. Quickly, the clients started saying, well, can't you just do the research for me? So we've got moderators, and we've got what we call a clipping team. And as a person who's done hours of video editing in qualitative research, when you've got a 2-hour focus group and you got to go through it and find where
the interesting
somebody
stuff
said
is.
something,
Yeah.
our clipping team watches these things. The answers come in as they're happening. Like it's almost like an open-ended question on a quant study. So when the answers to assignment 1 come in, our people are behind the scenes pulling out the good stuff and setting it up and building a report for the client so they can go in and they can see all the raw video, but they can also just get to the good playlist of here's people talking about generic drugs, here's people talking about coupons, or whatever it is you want to hear. It saves a heck of a lot of time.
Right. So it sounds like Qualvu does quite a few different services. Could you just break down the different aspects? Because there's some panel stuff, there's the technology,
panel stuff
there's the breaking down the video. What are the sort of parts of the business?
I'm glad you brought up panel, because one of the reasons we let people keep the camera is ongoing engagement. So Qualvu is a full-service research company. Moderation, recruiting, project management, data collection and analysis, final report, or any kind of sort of mix in between. You want to have your own moderator? We can work with you that way. You got your own panel? We can work with them. Here's the 10 people we want to talk to. Okay. We can work around all those different things. But the reason we let them keep the camera, mostly, besides the fact that nobody would ever mail them back, is ongoing engagement. So I'm doing a project right now in a web development site relaunch. It's going to be 3 or 4 phases, 20 people, starting from the wireframes to concepts and screenshots, all the way to kind of the launch beta site. It's 20 people. We're going to recruit them the first time, send the cameras. Then phase 2 and 3 and 4, we don't have to recruit them. We don't have to send cameras. So they're only going to pay for the research and the other phases. And that's the opportunity here is, so let's say you're you're an agency and you work with liquor and maybe you work with soap or something. So you can recruit 30 young guys and maybe 1 month talk to them about scotch and the next month talk to them about deodorant, We can arm them with these cameras, let them know that expect once a month you're on the X agency panel, and then, they'll get paid for each time that they participate. But that turnaround time is going to be so much quicker. And if you think about hard to reach people like small business owners or specific kind of doctor, if you get them once, arm them with a camera, that whole idea of a mini panel can really save a lot of time. And especially, let's say you're an agency and you're doing a pitch, you just want quick feedback. You can, this speeds things up.
Right. Well, you could end up with, what if you had Scotch flavored deodorant? Would that be helpful?
It has been rumored to attract the ladies. It's got to be single malt, though.
Single malt flavored deodorant. I'm in.
It actually keeps you drier.
Yes.
Blend stuff.